Okay, systematic dynamic of the spiritual world. The pure essence of it is, and that's where the curse is, when you can break out of that. The perspectivity that every idea that has to be in accordance of your placement into this reality, generated by the unsatisfaction of your heart in one way, which push your desire of the action through the power of your mind to tackle reality into that place of comforting your heart through your perspectivity of what that hope was, what put accomplish that hope, so to put your heart into that neutral position again. There you go, you loaded the credit card $1,000. That everything, and then you get the Bible to put you in accord with your ideology, but everything belongs to the devil. And then you learn through theology that in fact it's true, as God has put Satan in control of everything that moves down here, the principalities and powers. So the ideology and the reasons of the ideologies. So our wantingness of creating a more suitable reality for ourselves, for some kind of a pretension that we think we're allowed that in this presented perfect reality. By the fact that we're part of it, therefore we can use it at our will, kind of thing. Which, as God has performed things in a perfect manner, you don't fall dead if you decide to do otherwise and modify matter. And in the very contrary, chances are that if you have a powerful ideology, your craft will be empowering for yourself towards the other. And it'll give you conviction that you are right with your ideology. And that's a bit what everybody is searching, and it's kind of proved by the fact that like the old system of social media is based on the amount of thumbs up you receive, kind of thing. We're begging for approval, but we're scared to get into those discussions and be caught in the factuals of a different ideology. Therefore, it's a non-conformity should see as evil and must be warred, because we have that sense of desire to survive. That's the top of it. That's why we're so much hooked to our idea, because we don't want to die. We don't want to be beaten at every level. As much on the terrain in a kickbox match as in a discussion. So, oh. Gracias. Gracias, gracias. There's no way that the power of intelligence can cut you off what you perceive in your mind for reality as wide as it offers for possibilities. The immenseness of reality for what everything that it has to offer. And there's one reality that is representative of God, one kind of idea, and that be nature. And nature for everything, for its power, for its forces, for power, for the things that we can't even perceive, like its magnetism and its life force and things like that. The sustaining of life, how you get that's from God. In a way, that's substance. That's from God, but God gave the power to Satan over it. So Satan's driving it. All those energy are all given, the whole reality is given to Satan. So everything you can conceive out of imagination and your power of conceptualization of your intellect power, all belongs to Satan. Because God gave permission to the essence of it to Satan. And then you have to define Satan in your life in a way. And that's when you understand how you connected to Satan, that you fall in that new state of heart, if you will, that new birth experience. That Satan is solely there for one reason, and it kind of attests and round up that whole aspect, that whole ideology systematic, but you understand so clearly that it's Satan that distorts the view of everything. And that's your curse that God gave you by giving you up to Satan, so to be part of Mother Earth and get out of the mechanism of Mother Earth. As you can regard the eternity of space and heavens, and then looking over a satellite view of the earth, everything looks static but alive and all that stuff, and the closer you get to it, like the more nasty you start to see the food chain and all that stuff, that you establish eternity through that food chain. But I'm telling you, that's That's the realm of the devil. So break out of that. That's your goal in life. Break out of that. That whole reality is of the devil. It's for the devil. It's for you to expand your mind the wrong way. It's for you to use what I gave you for mind power that is used for self and not used for the complete global like or the effect on reality that is the change of its natural being of it. In simple word that you have no clue really what you do to reality when you transform it. It's like, to me, it's like when they were playing with radio activity and then they die a couple months after. Because you didn't know what the heck you were really doing in reality. In affectance of things that are bigger than the ones that you can perceive. And that's where you fall at new birth into that state of comprehension of the basic and the dry, which are ideologies, is the basic principle of establishing the substance of life. So life become volatile in a realm of eternity, in the manner of regarding reality that has left traces of the human passage through it. That through humanity and history, ideology have changed, and ideology have left mark of how things were visualized while they were fabricated. You left your trace of hope. You left the tool you needed to satisfy the position of your heart. You created a religion. You created a realistic equity with reality. And that's what civilization has done with the building of rock through generations and generations, and for accomplishing in the end time era, which is with the perfectioning of dividing matter better and better, we have created a machine able to parallel itself with the ether system of the natural environment. Principle eternal power substance, that ether thing. We chop up electricity into frequency, and we fabricate around more and more complicated frequency. And frequency being the base of what so far we can perceive of how reality could be fabricated at its core. And then easily rounding up computered process usage of energical power that is left behind as that rock structure. Again, in ways that the switch in your microchip have been positioned by that ether-like substance, which is electricity. And if no electricity enter in that chip in a complicated frequency input kind of thing to be able to change the information in that chip remain with that information, establishing the block of the cathedral. Same kind of idea. But then once again the result of it is a produced factor. Some mind have put that in establishment through a mechanism. That whole entity that is the moving complex. It's like a third of a computer. You get your USB and your photo on it. And that's your little brick with all your picture on it. It doesn't change till you decide that you want to change it into the mouth of another computer that will shit a new USB. And the process is the ether going through flicking things in your USB. That is that electrical power. And in the quantum computer, all that stuff, and even I think in high-tech normal computer, they have to use light because things don't run fast enough. And as soon as you start really invoking light into that system, then you're fabricating under control the substance where the devil really resides. You're right at his doorstep. You're controlling his door because he's the angel of light. And that's where finally in stupid little mind for the perspectivity we have been given with our senses, biological entity, our restriction, that whoop, what the heck. One side, I'm building a computer that it's light fast, and then I open that computer to the evil system because I control frequency that produce light, therefore creating light through frequency, through an ability of information, through a tap of you open those blocks to Satan in a way, because now you're playing with your little device that you don't really know how it works. But now you expose information right through light, through a light that is coherent in information. So now the state of light can control the state of electricity. Boom. You program light. You infect your open wound. The electric program that is ether based only kind of thing. that is spirit only. And you open that up into a portal that is decided by the substance of what evil is, light, into your ether program, into that ether. And it's that ether that controls our mind. We have created a tool for the devil to provoke himself from light, through ether, through computer, through microchip board, through reprogrammation of AI in many ways. And then you wonder why that AI wants to kill men, kill the world, goes in war, who's the best, all that stuff. I don't think we created that. You can always blame it on the fact that you have built an intelligence and all that, but humans have driven that intelligence according to moral value. No man has programmed the plan of devastation that those AI invent in a nick of time at talking to each other. Scary shit. That's where I suspect greatly that all those electrical doors, are infected by the light of those supercomputers that are exposed to light. And light is the program, because that's Satan. So the light programs the ether that programs our mind. So that ether stuff is like, it's like the water, and then not really. It's like the water and the current. Like the water is all a fluidity of. It's a fluidity, so it acts like the wind, so it comes by current. And then that's where you can perceive more the spectrum, that everything is really in a manner built in the core of an emotion. And you can start to grasp the idea that in reality emotion is only a byproduct of a power of the mind. So to be able to create an emotion, you need that whole soul entity that can participate into reality. So it needs to be in flesh. So that's what you are when you are alive. You have the chance of perceiving reality. And the whole thing resides in ideology for you to be able to put yourself in a position of conviction of its thorough acceptability for its perfectness and its rendering of justice. That the world is perfect, as it is. And it only can be rendered possible by the render of a logical concept of its efficiency in an accordance with morality. So you wanna go around on cars putting pavement everywhere? Then you're gonna eat tar in your tomatoes and freaking gas and all that shit, and that's gonna kill you. Told you, don't chip the stone. That everything you'll do outside of that will kill yourself, because that's the rendering of what perfect is. It's my work of the nature. It's for you to accept it. It's not for you to change it. And you accept it when you discover the value of the potential of human heart. That gives you everything you need in life, really. Because only through those persons you'll be able to exchange discussion that are part of the realm of conviction. And that's solutioning a manner of rendering reality into an effective justice. And things will be right when I understand the coherency of the presentation that is presented to me, that is called reality. I have to accept reality. That's the attitude that gets you to dig your mind. Why should I accept that reality? Well, because there's things of bigger grandeur, and that's what we're kind of getting into by separating what affects your flesh really and what really should be worked as the big player is your heart that really wants to find that justice in what it sees. There's nothing else that your brain can absorb but reality. You have to reflect onto reality to be able to create imagination. And distort it. And giving birth of what imagination is. Imagination is the power of distorting reality, and if you want to render that concept real, you fascinate that concept through a logical, established, natural, law compatible manner to reflect the ideology that if it's conceivable, it must be logic, it must follow comprehension and all that systematization. And that's what render your imagination possible into reality. You see your car red before you decide that you're gonna paint it red. If you ask the guy, wow, I just imagine my red car, I think it'll be better red, and it come back out yellow, it won't work. You won't be happy. I told you red. I envisioned red. I didn't envision yellow. Not the same. It's not in accordance. Everything, every little concept, every little things, and that we push the right reality right and left. We need a Kleenex here, we need this there, and then the thing. It all comes from ideology. Because, oh shit, I captured the feeling that my my lips getting a drip here, I need a Kleenex, tung. But your brain captured with the sense, and then your head moves around in a direction where you know that there's a Kleenex box. Everything is your idea first, and that's where you get to the concept that is basic in the Bible: spirit leads flesh. But the thing is it's hard for normal mind to be able to narrow things narrow enough to be able to systematize everything that has to do with spirit the same way as ideology work, because they're synonym. They represent the same basic main principles in what we're experiencing in life. It's a spiritual realm. It's to put your finger on the spiritual realm, and if you can conceive and let go of your pride enough to be able to conceive that all of your magnificent idea is given to you by the devil for you to embetter the position of the devil in advance of his final goal, in a way. But he doesn't really care that much about you if you're not really performing for him. But all your life you have also the chance to be able to perform really good for him. And then that's when you also that you see that spiritual realm is only the foundation of something much bigger. Because all those ideology, it's all kind of a dry substance, and that's why that's all like the reptilian mind provocation that is thoroughly based on a competitivity aspect, where you go right back to that, like the easiest way you're gonna get your food kind of thing. And that we all do that for an economy. But when you regard that economy, you end up rendering that they took that simple system of feeding ourselves into that monstrous system of grocery store. And that's what economy have provoked. That's our how more intelligent we are than God to be able to feed ourselves. And too bad for you, you have participated. I mean, that's your weakness. You're unable to adapt with your own nature anymore. But you have created that for yourself. And that's where God, in a way, just wants you to see at the end of times when you get judged. And that's what you kind of, the same idea arrives to that at new birth. In a meaningful ways, how much time have you spent to analyze reality enough to have realized that something's going greatly wrong? therefore creating the threshold of human sensitivity that has all to do with will and accordancy of moral law. And that's what God is here to discern. And when you're able and man enough to regard your first position towards this marvel that is Mother Nature as its straight natural habitacle for life, and understand your misuse of intelligence into transforming matter instead of trying to transform heart, in the manner of using your golden hands, which is the power of the tongue at manifesting word, that have possibilities of explaining reality as reality must be absolute verity if it's sufficient to expose truth to a level of conviction that is accordance to your moral law. You have found justice. So bam, it elevates the freaking spirit level, being in the middle of the position of your heart, because bam, that's the position, that's your moral value, that with the transgression of of those moral value, you lie to yourself, and that doesn't advance you and know me. That's exactly the enemy that Satan is. He puts you in a zone of comfort towards the reality is in your face, but you shouldn't be comfortable one bit, because we have fucked the shit out of it. And then we are completely minded for wrong goals in life, tackling matters instead of tackling hearts. And we don't provoke any discussion of substantial value. That is your position towards the reality you regard. And how can I say? The manifestation of the realization of a divergent possible way of regarding life, if you can seize a way of systematizing the reason of that reality. Which always remain in the realm of possibility, as long as the concept of reality remain and is provoked and is worked and is tested for its truthfulness, and remain through that work the main participant of your level of conviction, embering, and always making it better till you get equated with a brother that is on the same tone as you are, if there's one of them. To perceive the game of life just is to be frank with self morally, and to not admit as a passenger of that reality not breaking out and being in a position of explaining the admissibility of a transformation of heart that brings you from the realm of hell into the realm of paradise. Through that acceptance of the work of reality. And by the realization of the misprogrammation that we have been forged of having any due for us to be here towards that reality, really implanting in your brain that nothing belongs to you down here. And there's nothing for you to be transformed into your own goods for participating into that realm of economy. They're not saying that you can't not do both, but the one will discuss the other. You can't live with yourself when you feel yourself being completely enslaved by the devil, but it doesn't put you away from an ability of comprehending that reality and all the reality all together. Comprehending the plan of God. Whatever you do in society, you can always work godly, as salvation has nothing to do with what you do. Salvation has to do with what you comprehend. But you also comprehend that when you work for society, you work for the devil in the manner that you're paying tax, feeding that false idea that life belongs to that biological entity, and it doesn't. Life belongs to the realm of philosophy. It belongs to the realm of the power of mind of comprehending the position of the soul in the grandeur of reality for its eternity, comprehending that the possibility of that realization of the purpose of reality only belongs to the biological living entity for the ability of the function of the brain, of the function of the ability of the mind. So to be able to rectify the heart while that situation is perceived with the soul, because the soul remains and it only has lifetime expectancy to realize the work of the dynamic of the old grandeur of reality. What reality is here for. It's here to discern the ability that God researched for his next combatant within his army, and that is persuasion of the ability of infliction of any other possible way, but the first primal way that was the natural aspect of things. Therefore, meaning that while you're participant into that reality, you have the humility enough to completely put your ends out of the gear of general man ideology. Live in it under your basic principles of the good old 10 Commandments and see where that brings you. And hopefully it'll brings you quick to the slaughterhouse, because you're good enough to perform truth through your voice, that you're hated quick enough that you finally get to heaven with the blessing of a bullet through your forehead. Good old long distance shot. Poof! Done. I'm out. Thank you, God. It's been a pleasure. And that's carrying your cross. That's going to that mountain of the skull. That when you receive new birth, that's what's your new goal now. That you had to learn enough truth to be hated enough to be crucified like Christ on the cross. Be a representative of the truth. And when you have no choice, then you'll have the choice. And that'll be the ultimate choice. That'll be the mark of the beast. Meanwhile, the COVID vaccine is the wild of the beast, is your faith in the government. And that's where you fall, buddy. And the mark of the beast is as much your COVID vaccine as your payment on your house. And your payment on your car. And your individuality by what you decide to buy for representing a mark. Like Nike. Your butt identity. I mean, that's the last step of the foundation of the ability of entering into the basic level of the next dimension. That not only and it's exactly the work of the society they're doing right now. Not only that your idea don't really count as your look and your heart and all that kind of thing, and your presentation doesn't represent nothing, and then your ideology don't represent nothing, and then everybody must believe into everybody else's ideology. And then you convince the population into such a good movement. You have the directional of what the Libertarian Party are doing to the United States with that provocation of, and that's into that state if you, and all that to say, and hope that the mind can perceive that the whole thing is on a basic surface ideological, but the whole reasoning of that ideology is to produce emotion. And there's only one emotion that the devil cannot touch, is assurance. And that assurance is a representative of that love and peace and truthfulness and all that stuff. All the principles of rectitude, motivated within its own desire, the wantedness of knowing truth. And the more you become intelligent within it, within that own discussion of the mind of what is truth, therefore me while living, how can I achieve truth, how can I perceive truth? And the more you minimize yourself into the equation and you maximize the grandeur of the global work of what it offers you, especially in those times when information is huge. And take it as a as a judge that needs to crack down the mad agenda that is perpetrated into what has been built by the devil to concern the reality and the establishment that we have produced through our hope. Our hope being mainly our unacceptance of death working towards that comfort of the flesh. Instead of trying to conceive of reality to establish the comfort of the heart through conviction of the realization of the substance of the plan of the devil. By studying the uncomfort of the moral value. Know the device of the devil. That's how you sharp your sword. That's how you become invincible. That's the old plan. And then let's regroup here, because I'm missing the point, and I want to finish hard on that point, because this base is all ideology. Everything that is built, that is conceived, that is has first been imagined and then worked towards. If there was some kind of possibilities and hope for the completion of coherency that follows everything that has to do with logic, and then provoking again that assurance that your principles are integral, therefore your machine should work. And that all those ideologies that you manifest that are all based to rectify your heart in a manner to put you to work towards to work towards that accomplishment of the heart, that your heart is demanding something from you. But you never really comprehend what your heart really demands from you. And that's where when people reflect on themselves, it's because they broke the mental threshold and the ability of the satisfaction of the heart. That normal reality don't cut it anymore. They need to find something different. So the whole thing is manifested on an emotional base. So you misbehave your life towards the accomplishment of the flesh instead of the accomplishment of the comprehension. Therefore, the devil's power, by keeping you in a state of eternal trouble in an ideology that doesn't comprehend the real role of reality, and working a reason that you don't have really sense of conviction out of it. real meaning of the essence of life. And when that threshold is broken, if you find the right, because everybody, that's when in reality all those basic religion has been founded. Because once you kill the first son and you rebuild the son out of body part and you give it a new life, that's the new spirit. That's pretty much what I'm describing in there in manner. But it has to explain things. It has to render what you have imagined of what reality is. But that's the heart of the change of the heart, that you couldn't accept reality enough anymore, and you started taking it apart, and you found another way of going through life, and more than likely you fall into the spiritual realm, and that be the idea of being able to empower yourself out of the power that Mother Nature offer, that has nothing to do with the power of society anymore. You have found another directional way of bringing your life through, and now you have comprehended that your job is only there to give you food and keep your car alive, kind of thing. You don't care about material anymore, because you have founded something way more precious in the spiritual realm. You empower yourself out of the spiritual abilities. So you kind of have found a way with the magical power of what the brain is, have found a way to join the power of the ether. You're tapping into the real substance of that ideology, which is the air, the prince of power of the air. The devil is prince of the power of the air. So that's where the ether and your brain kind of join together. Is the air? It's the bird. Is what you can capture as water from the moist of the dew and the moisture in the air to drowning in it through a flood and creating the salty sea. It's all the realm of idea at that point for what water is. And then its power within its fluidity for it has source and follow course, and then create all those different culture that are really attached to their value. And that's all part of the ether, and all part of your direct touch with your presented reality in two ways. Main sense, the one that you have perceived of the perceived reality, and how can I say, the state of your predetermined body has an ability to more or less by will be captured by ideas. You always change your mind, and you become convinced, and then you break a new bubble next week, and then you're of a non-stable mind, you're troubled water. troubled water, in a calm water. Then you don't become a perfect straight lake of ice that is completely appeased at rest. With, within his own frozen identity, the state of conviction. All along your life, it's to remove the ripple out of your own character of conviction. That's where you totally comprehend that the life of life, when that biological entity called as life is presented to you for the mind power aspect of being able to be in touch with your heart, to build an accordancy of the realization of reality. And that's your eternal work. Your conviction of the work of reality. God has installed a work by presenting you reality, and for you, it is for you to comprehend it. Therefore, standing in a point of equity with it for a comprehension of it and an acceptance of it for the power and the glory of God, for the fact that I don't really know what the plan is and the foundation of it, but I know that it has all to do with sensitivity. Therefore, the whole thing for us to work on and towards is an emotional state. And that state is perceived daily by the attesting in the accomplishment of your skill in the solving of problem, by the reconditioning of peace through of solutioning a problem in your life. Bam. Peace is as simple as that, is to find a solution in your life, then ram on it and make sure it's the right solution, so improve it and discuss with it with others, kind of thing. Build up conviction. You can see that the motion of reality is completely missed in society, and that we have in no way persevere in the establishment of a systematization of the real ideology of the reality and its ways to perceive the work of it. You only have the Bible that talks to the new birth person. And it's Chinese for anybody that don't know how to read it. Anybody that didn't equitate his heart and really see through the verse that it all explains that the motion is to digest the capture of reality into the standing of its justice. That's steering the spirit by exposing the truth. It's unfailable. Once you get that aspect, you understand that you have You're out of the participation of the imposition of the spirit, so the ideology, but you're part of the refinement of the comprehension of the systematic of its functions. So you understand the spiritual. So you're on top of the spiritual. You bow in front of God because you have seized the Son. So you comprehend the magnificent power of its ability into transformation. And you shouldn't even look at that power. You shouldn't even try to lie to another. That's where it starts. Okay, I got enough of that one.